Hi everyone, hopefully some of you will join me shortly in this video. We are going to start talking about final project. I still have to get the date for our final presentation. I would love if all of you can join me there. I know that schedules are rough, so if it's impossible, then it's fine. But I still would like to at least meet with you one-on-one about your project. Now, for your project, this doesn't mean that you have to do extra work, especially those of you who are working hard already, being the backbone of our humanity right now. I want to show you a project that was done in the 1970s, and again today in Brooklyn, New York. So I want I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to talk about that project. And I really want us to collectively, when you watch the video, think about the importance of rest and what we consider as a productive life, as a life of sort of being busy and working and working and working. And what that, I mean, right now, there's a big pause on how we should be living, and maybe what that life could possibly look like. Because maybe we're not meant to be running around and just trying to chase the next dollar and economy. At the same time, of course, we need to feed our families and we need our roof over our heads. So how do we do that? How do we create a roof over our heads, create some sort of stability, and at the same time enjoy life? We're on this planet for so short of a time. How do we really enjoy it? How do we really feel that we're alive and breathing, that we have amazing things around us, right? The sky above, the birds, the plants that grow around us, those are pretty incredible things. And most of us, me included, take all that for granted. And right now we need to stop. So we also need to recognize how much some of you are working and what that means. When you are now the essential workers, if you're part of that group, you should be essentially paid and have a roof, be able to support yourself with food, and it shouldn't be a luxury. It's not a luxury. All right, so here's the artwork that I wanted to show you today. I'm just going to share my screen with you. And I'm going to come back to this beautiful man in a second, but I wanted to consider this artwork for right now. All right, so this is an artwork by from the 1970s by a artist who was from Belgrade, and he was considering, and he called this piece the artist at work. All right, so he's sleeping, he's resting. So think about what that means to title this piece Artist at Work. And an artist today named Jessica Siegel, she replicated this piece in Brooklyn today. And this man, whose name I think is Milodovan, I can't pronounce his name, he wrote that artists in the West are not lazy and therefore not artists, but rather producers of something. Their involvement with matters of no importance, such as production, promotion, the gallery system, the museum system, the competition, who is first, their preoccupation with objects, all that drives them away from laziness, from art. Just as money is but paper, a gallery is but a room. So in this quote, he's talking about how it's essential for artists to reconsider the idea of work. And I think for all of us right now, it's time to reconsider how much we do, and start counting rest in that work-life balance. Really, what would be best for the planet it would be if human beings started hibernating for about the next 2 years, right? Then the virus would really die off. Is if we all just went into hibernation. But do consider that rest is just as important. And for many of you, for your final project can look like this, okay? Where you reconsider when it is that you're most creative. We need time to reconsider what's important to your own body, your own health, what's important to the world, to the environment. And those of you certainly that are essential workers that are helping us in our everyday life right now, we need to consider the equality for people financially, so that, you know, if you're the backbone of our country right now, you need that respect and you need that pay. There's no question. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the project that I'm doing and some of the projects that other people have done for final work. So I'll give you some student examples of work that might be interesting to create, though, for those of you who want to create. For those of you who just need to rest and find some downtime, just find a way to record it and let that be your final. Understand that meditation, rest, sitting down, giving your body a break is maybe more important than building or doing something for the final. Okay, so that's number one, reconsider rest. Those of you who are excited to create and build with your hands and are excited to sculpt or create objects, I wanted to give you an example of what's possible. So some folks have been doing artworks and considering taking images from the museum and reconstructing them from everyday objects that they have around. So I wanted to show you this work. The painting is by Klimt, Klimt, I believe is his, or if you look up Klimt, maybe it's Klint. There's a beautiful painting by him called The Golden Painting that has wonderful patterns and geometry, and he was so motivated by those shapes. And this lovely project was redone with using everyday objects, right? The cookies, the crackers, but it's exactly in the way that that he painted it. When you're inspired by art, and you can think about doing it and creating it with everyday materials, you can do some most creative things. Here's another artist who does graffiti. His name is Banksy, and he often does political statements. He graffitis on walls that are museum walls or walls that are public and open to the public, and often criticizes the powers and the structure. So in his quarantine, these rats have had a way with his bathroom. He has been considering how to mix the two-dimensional world with the three-dimensional world. So all the rats that you see in this bathroom are obviously drawn and painted on the wall itself. And then the objects are repositioned. So for example, like this rat that's running on this toilet paper is painted on the wall, and then the toilet paper goes down here. This one is squirting out that toothpaste. So if you and your children and your families really want to play and get messy and dirty, understand the potential is your imagination. You can reconsider any space that you have, if you're willing to then paint it over perhaps. But certainly the potential is there to create whatever you feel is important, and to have a sense of play right now, and fun, and create, you know, it can be really just about humor, and having a good time. This is a lovely piece of the rats. So those are some ideas. There might be others. There's a painting project that some students are doing where they will embed a painting into their everyday setting. So it has to match exactly what is already there. And you put it against it, and you take a larger photograph, and then you have to go and find the painting. Anyway, so there's that's for the painting class that I teach as well. All right, let's go back, and I want to talk to you about your final projects. There will be a student survey that simple 7 questions for you to fill out and start thinking about what your final should really be. And really, again, dig deep and think about what it is that you actually need, not thinking about it as a class that you have to do a project. This is not something extra that you must accomplish. In fact, for many of you, you need to cut back on the things that you're already accomplishing. You can certainly document yourself while you do the everyday critical skills that you are doing. So if you want to document yourself at whatever job you have, you're welcome to do that for a final project. You can photograph yourself again at rest, or you can do a project of your own desire. You can do a project like Banksy in your bathroom, repainting, reconsidering your space, and feeling creative to do whatever you like in that space. All right. It's easy to repaint a wall. If you wanted to paint rainbows around you in your space to make you feel good, feel free. Even if you're in an apartment, it's fine to reconsider the walls, paint the walls. You can always paint them back. It's not a hard thing. So, and if you have children, that's a great thing to do with them as well, is to give them the freedom to maybe change their space and have a little bit of fun right now. If paints are maybe hard to come by right now, they're not one of those necessities. So you can be creative. I mean, you can draw with anything. You can draw with dirt. You can draw with certainly beet juice or anything from your pantry. Anything mixed with water. Most spices mixed with water. But really, dirt and water will also make a mark. Okay. So student surveys will be on our portal on my RCC for you to fill out and sort of give us and write down the parameters of what you want your project to be. I believe our final is scheduled for in 2 weeks. Generally the finals are happening the week of May 5th. So I think we're scheduled to have a final on May 6th, but I'll double check. Okay. So that means in 2 weeks, if we could find a time to get together either on a Wednesday night or at some other time, hopefully that's agreeable for all of us, that would be great. If we can't find a scheduled time, I still need your projects to be in. I would still love to communicate and have you guys at least critique each other's work or see each other's work. So that's why if you possibly can make it on the 6th, please let me know. Give me a chat in the room, in the chat box here. And of course, if you want to just chat or email me, I do check email not every day, but I try to check your email twice a week. So if you have any questions or concerns about that, let me know. I know that the school is probably going to pass and fail. So those of you who are, as long as you have a D- and above, you are passing the course and all your courses. So I will still, I think, import normal grades for your GPA, but at the same time, if you're worried about or stressed about passing courses or not passing courses, there's an option for pass fail and maybe even no credit. So that's something to look for or ask the administration. Because I think obviously this semester has been completely different than anything we had before. So you will pass all your classes, okay? And that's it for me, guys. If you have anything that you specifically want to work on, I know we have the subtractive project. There'll be a student survey, and you are to create or not create in the next 2 weeks, a project that means something to you, okay, that you feel strongly about. And again, that could be just rest. So I hope you're well. I'm going to do a project that I'm currently working on. I want to show you the project that has been on my mind recently. Those of you who have friends or family members that are suffering from COVID, or you just don't have them around and you would like them near you, I'm creating a project. Hold on one second and I'll show you. I'm painting people's portraits on stone. So it now is not a time where we can get together and especially think about people who have lost their lives. So what I'm doing is that because we can't get together, I'm taking the portrait of whoever is perhaps in the hospital, or those folks had that this beautiful man lost his life. He worked in the grocery store that I attend, and because his family can't get together to mourn collectively, I wanted to do something to give something to the family that they can maybe hold on to, um, as a way of collectively um, keeping his memory alive, but also a way for the family to hold him, as a way of grieving. So this beautiful man, his name is Leon Marin. He worked at the grocery store that I work in. He had 4 children, worked 2 jobs, and lost his life on April 15th. So I contacted his family, and they will be collecting. They will come pick up the portrait. They will come pick this up from my garden. So those of you who would like to hold family members, I'm going to be working on 2 sisters that are not together. One's in Europe, one's in the US. I'm going to be painting their portraits. Those of you who are interested in painting, feel free to stay on the call. Those of you who need to get to your own work, feel free. And I will just demonstrate a little bit of painting technique for those who are interested in portraiture. We started carving a little bit, but I wanted to do a little bit of painting. This is what I've been doing, portraits like this ever since my own family members have died and I couldn't be with them. So I find that this is a way to sit with those people and think about them and grieve, which is what a lot of people will be doing, right? And we don't really have an outlet to do that in. So Leon Marin, hopefully his family will get this soon. And if you need any portrait painted, feel free to email it to me and I'll try to have it within a week. I generally leave these in my garden so I can give you the address and you can come pick up your portrait when it's done. And these will also be in New York for, there's an immigrant biennial, so I'll be painting portraits for people who have lost loved ones in New York City, specifically since the city has undergone such a huge upheaval. Okay, so I'm off to work. Feel free to stay on with me, or feel free to go do what you need to do. I'm going to play some music in the background. I'm going to look at these 2 sisters, one of whom has recovered from COVID, but her sister can't be with her. So I wanted to do them or paint them so that the sister can come pick up the paintings from the garden and, just have them. So those of you who've never painted before, you can paint in oils, acrylics. I have oils because that has been something time. And I don't think we've done skin tones, but there's skin tone colors are yellow, red, black, white. For Asian skin tone, there's more yellow in skin tone. For African American skin tones, There's a lot more ultramarine, but they all work the same. You start with this base, and a tiny bit of blue will add beautiful shade after there. So it's just about, your paint and variety of colors. I go from my mid colors are the red and the yellow. Adding white to them will get them gradually lighter, and then adding black to the yellow and red will get them gradually darker. So I have this variety of skin tone to think about, because when we look at a face, right, every part that's hit by light is color. So for example, with this portrait, I have light skin tones where the light is hitting. I'm going to do some of that now, that I can show you a little bit of what I mean. Okay. In the picture, the light is coming from the left-hand side. So I have light hitting the forehead and everything that projects, everything that pops out. Remember how we were carving? Everything that comes forward will have light on it. So on top of the forehead, a little bit on the upper eyelid, certainly on the cheeks. The upper cheekbone, the light is hitting from the side of the picture, which means there's a little bit of light on the nose. And there's a little bit of light hitting. Right? And we have gradually dark. I don't know about you guys, but I find that there has been such amazing sounds of birds um, every night and every morning. I see some more birds in the sky. So I tend to paint everything that's not um, the features. I would paint the cheeks, the things that we don't consider, the chin, the way that the mouth meets the cheeks, everything that's not yet the ears, the mouth, the nose. Okay, so I consider all the other spaces first. And I've been doing this practice of painting people that have been important to me um, throughout my life, but certainly I I lost I lost a cousin when I wasn't at home. And so I didn't have family members to mourn her with. And painting was a way for me to deal with her loss. Um, to reconsider what's really important, right? These moments that we have with our family that we can enjoy. Um, with kids, I know this is a really hard. It's such a hard time. Um, if you can find moments to just play, be together, it is a pretty miraculous thing that we're alive. And every day is a miracle to be here. Certainly with children, it becomes double, becomes this great miracle that we're alive. Sharing their company, even their wild, rambunctious behaviors. Um, it's still this incredible joy, regardless of everything. So if you can, find some moments to, if you have them nearby, find some. All right, then I have this really, I go to my dark sections and my dark. So from my mid-tones, I go to the dark. And this is, I have a little bit of oil. It could be any, use linseed oil, but it could be custard, olive oil. So whatever material you have, just let me see if anyone has come into our meeting. I'm going to keep it open for a while. If I'm certain I'm going to be painting all night. But if uh, you can just tend to your own practice. I'm going to keep this open, but I'm going to stop recording. So those of you who want to know the lesson, it's the first 20 minutes of our talk. Okay. Feel free to join us whenever you can. I'm going to be on for the next hour, but I'm going to stop recording.